Waffles. 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 How did I get this encoder? Character encoder, copy and paste the stream key to your decoder or assign it to your YouTube account. That's what I thought I've sent in. Oh. I'll put. Okay. Hello there. Hello. 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 That is a latency. Hello there. Wow. Is that really how long of a latency there is? Oh. Hello. That is a latency. Wow. Is that really how long latency there is? Oh. I realized it created an endless cycle because now my phone is going to play back to here. That's fun. That's good. Well, I mean, it's showing here. Like I can see on my phone, it shows here. It's not too bad. All right. This is not showing for shit. So. All right. Let me just pull up an article. I just want to pull up an article, just random article. Let's do. What the fuck did I get 30 cents from? Or no, on Reddit. Earn a minimum of $10 and 100 karma. You're eligible to receive a payout. Earn money. Alright. Yeah, well. Alright. Woo. That was a big ass yawn. Hi. My name is Gavin Dougal, and this is a test stream. I am simply testing out to see how well my Publicola live stream would work. It is 3:30 in the morning. I have faffed about with trying to get some form of a quick thumbnail thrown together in GIMP. It did not go well. I need to actually create something. I think I'm just gonna have to cave and get into Canva. I was trying to go all open source, but man, Canva does make it a lot easier. I had a subscription prior to with Canva. It was great. But anyway, my broadcast doc is cooked because I went through this right and I was like, oh, cool, my story is right. They're all good. And then I click on them and I'm like, NBC, go in here, right? And it says, ICE entry without warrant. Okay, that one's good. That's fine. It's like, yeah, fatal shooting. It's like, there's some of these are not the links I want. This is a test stream. It's just for sake of me doing a quick recording, seeing how well I get things. Yeah. So. Hey, 335 away or share Wi-Fi. Alright. Oh, it's just the name of my things. Whoops. I can't think at the moment. Alright. Okay. So. You know what? I saw this story earlier. It says, what would a trans genocide look like? I wanted to go ahead and read it here. This is the TucsonCentennial.com. My name is Gavin Dougal. I'm with excuse me. Let me see if I do that right. Hi, my name is Gavin Dougal, and this is the Public Cola Plan. It is a late night show where a father who is too tired to be able to think straight reads you the news, tells you about some of the things that are going on in Arizona. And I am doing this here in my kitchen late at night because I do not have an office and I do not have time to wait to make it life all perfect. I need to simply do things now because these conversations need to be happening at the kitchen table nowadays, not 5 months from now. We need to take action while we still can. So, today, I'm doing a quick video. It's about what would a trans genocide look like. A Tucson Holocaust educator says that we are already seeing it in effect. Now, Arizona lawmakers are advancing bills that regulate how trans people live and exist. The Tucson Holocaust Museum director explains why genocide scholars find them worrying. Let's go on and dive in here. Now, Arizona, in case you don't know, is a purple state. We say that because we have a Republican majority in both the state legislature and the House, but then we have a Democrat attorney general and a Democrat governor. and the majorities are only by like slim margins. So it's something where to still get support majority, you still need Democratic support. Um, but most of the time, our governor is really good at vetoing things that go bad. So this will likely be something that is just more or less for show for their base, which is a real shame because trans people are not fucking cattle, and I hate that Arizona sometimes likes to treat them like such. Trans people are people. This is a show that respects human rights and understands that healthcare is an essential human right. Understands that these are just people who are trying to go about their lives. They are humanoids, just like you and I. And so let's dive into this article. Let's see what they're on about. So, earlier this year, a bombshell claimed to rip through the news cycle. The founder of Genocide Watch, the former president of the International Association of Genocide Scholars, a body that monitors genocide and mass human rights abuses, warned that transgender people in the United States are in the early stages of genocide. That is true. There are something like over 96 bills already in legislation, not just in Arizona, but that's like throughout the whole US. Um, and out of those bills that are just targeting trans people, trying to make their life harder, we have bills that are trying to arrest parents for seeking healthcare or for arresting doctors for even doing things and not telling the parents. Mind you, uh, in order to actually have any form of transformative surgery, you do need to go and be at least 18 years old. There's no state that is just transing the youth, so to speak. At most, there's hormone blockers that are just supportive care, but they do not do any permanent damage or anything like that. And it's a real shame that we live in a society that is so fear mongered over a group of people that is less than 1%, and yet turns around and hates on them rather than trying to just simply understand who they are and love their children. And in the end, ends up pushing so much more suicide rates. Um, and then they try to gaslight and tell you that it's a chemical imbalance that leads them to suicide. It's no, you fucking hated your child. That's why they off themselves. You made them feel alone, and your home, your parents. No child wants to lose their parents. All right. The assessment moved fast, judging from academic circles to podcast and media influencers. Finally, activist spaces, which is amplified, flattened, and in some cases distorted. What was supposed to be a warning ground in decades of genocide scholarship became something closer to more Rorschach tests, dismissed outright, or escalated into apocalyptic rhetoric. I want to slow that moment down and ground it. What does early stages mean? This does not mean, and in Arizona, lawmakers introduced here and advanced more than a dozen bills aimed squarely at regulating how trans people access healthcare, move through public spaces, and live their lives. Does it compare with the effort and the framework of how genocide scholars describe a mass extinction of people? So, this editor, mind you, let's pull, who is this? This is by Joseph Darius Jafari. Let's go pull them up. Is founder and editor in chief of Lookout. Okay, from Lookout News. This is a fierce independent queer. Okay, so this is like a queer author and journalist. That's actually really respectable. We should check that out more when we get the chance. Let's see. So he says, spoke with Lori Shepard, executive director of the Tucson Jewish Museum and Holocaust Center, who works on Holocaust education and warnings of genocide. Shepard doesn't argue that the U.S. is replaying history beat for beat. What she does say is more unsettling, that the mechanisms, patterns, and justifications she teaches every day, not only for the Holocaust, but more recent genocides and the visible embedded in local politics, bureaucratic language, and laws quietly strip people of right to exist as themselves. Because here's the thing, right? And you can see this right now in play with ICE as they treat um, American citizens, with this federal government that this MAGA movement, this Trump regime is really doing to its constituents. Um, because what's important to know is that fascism does not just have brown uniforms on day one and immediately kicking down the door and grabbing people. No, it doesn't start that way. It starts with alienating people. It starts with making you feel like there is an enemy within, that there is an other, there is someone else's reason why the kids are not all right. There is someone else's reason why that your money, your dollar is just not quite worth what it used to be. It is someone else's problem. That is why you deserve to have so much a better life if only these other people were out of your life, if only they were exterminated, pushed away. And it starts from we shouldn't talk to them. Hey, they have something wrong. And eventually it leads on to we should have fucking firing squads for them. Before you know it, you have full blown fascism. That's the thing with fascists. Now, even in Arizona, okay, you have people who are already trying to pass on these legislations, trying to classify these human beings. Mind you, Jewish was not always a race, okay? When you're filling out your documentation about white, Hispanic, excuse me, about white, African, Asian, and such, Jewish was not treated as its own race at the time until Nazi Germany created it to be such and then gave people these passports. Now, I say that because if we're treating people that are trans as this other alien people, then you can quickly see what they're going to end up doing is they're going to start labeling people as trans. As it is, the Trump administration has already started cutting off people's um, their passports. Started denying them those who are trans being able to get new passports, and so we're blocking them into the city or into the states. We are preventing them from leaving already, and that's the first step. That's one of the early steps of fascism is you trap the people. You say no, 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 you can't leave, and then you start saying no, 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 you can't shop where we shop, and you can't own businesses. And before you know it, actually, we need to take you and we need to throw you into these vans off to this insane asylum because you're just too crazy. You're not fit for society. Clearly, you are a dissident of the Fior. You do not agree with our society, and the people hate you. And you might be wondering, why are we not there yet? Well, it's because poll numbers are only at 20% right now with the ICE and the Gestapo. And there is a lot more that we can be said here, but I would like to go through this article. I just want to touch on that, let you know that fascism does not happen in a one-day process. It grows. So every day you're out there, you're protesting, you're marching against, you're talking to your crazy family and saying, hey, that's not right. And you're waking people up and you're letting them know that we need to do something. Even today, I was just running around gathering some things real quick with my family before we go settle in for the evening and watch some wrestling. And there was people protesting in the streets, and I I love them. I love them so much for being in a Mexican neighborhood, off on 51st and Indian School, and protesting. I love that it's hard to look away because to look away is privilege, and we need to be in people's faces. And politics is uncomfortable, but we have to talk about it because look, this is what's being written when no one is looking. This, this right here. I need to click on my paper gun. What did I do? I was hitting command. Not this article. Sorry. Not this article either. We're going to edit that. This is what's happening, right? In a conversation that follows, Trevor walks through how genocide is defined, how it develops, and how it can be stopped long before mass violence becomes undeniable. Drawing from the frameworks of the 10 stages of genocide used by scholars and educational worldwide. Let's go pull that up. 10 stages of genocide. We're going to look at that in a minute. we talk about how dehumanization works, how governments manufacture fear to consolidate power, and why waiting for an official declaration of genocide has historically meant waiting too long. The violence we do overseas always comes back to us in the end. We have been committing genocide to the people of Gaza, to the Palestinians, for so long. Israel has been committing this violent oppression and genocide that now freaking um, if you guys have seen the photos of Rafah is obliterated. It is gone. Palestinians are dying. Mind you, there was over 2 million of them at the start of this. And that's as of October 23rd, October 7th of 2023, mind you. It's coming up on, going to be on 3 years, and so many people have died. Yeah, normally when things are called genocide, it's already too late. There's already thousands of people dead, bleeding the streets, and you have to decide when are you going to call it genocide. And we see even still now have politicians who are hesitant to even talk about this. So that's going. Though it isn't a thought experiment of a history lesson sealed in amber, it's a practical framework of understanding the present. And a reminder that what happens at school board meetings, state houses, and city councils can matter just as much as what unfolds on the world stage. This is the conversation here. I'll use this article. We're going to quick go through here. Just Darius Jafari says, for people who may not be familiar with the museum, what role does it play in Tucson? Who's it for? As Shepard said, the Tucson Jewish Museum and Holocaust Center is a regional history museum that focuses on Holocaust education with a fourfold mission. The first aspect of our mission is to teach the Holocaust and other genocides in order to help create a peaceful future. The second is to educate and enlighten people about the history of the Jews in southern Arizona and the involvement in the settlement of the region. The third is to preserve the oldest synagogue in southern Arizona, built in 1910 when Arizona was still a territory. And finally, we work with our diverse communities to help create a safer, stronger southern Arizona for all of us. Some days that feels like a lot, but it is all of it is vitally important. When people hear the word genocide, they often immediately associate with Jewish history. Why do you think that is, and what happens when we try to apply the word more broadly? Or Shepard says, I think the association makes sense. The Holocaust, the Shoah, was the largest genocide in history. While there were genocides before it, and sadly many after it, nothing yet reached the magnitude of the devastation of the Holocaust. So when people hear the word genocide, it is understandable that their minds go first to the Jewish people of Europe. But of course, there were genocides before. There are Armenian genocide, for example, and genocide still happening today. The word genocide itself didn't exist before the Holocaust. It was coined by Raphael Lemkin in 1944 because existing terms like mass murder and war crimes did not adequately describe what was happening to the Jewish people. He began developing the term before the Holocaust had even ended. By December 1948, the United Nations adopted the definition in the Genocide Convention, which established how he would define and understand genocide moving forward. So, I can read through this whole article. Pause, taking a moment here. I'm trying to think, is it worth reading this whole article? And we can. I will link this article down below in the comments. Or what if I'm supposed to? I don't know yet. Prestige classification, dividing people into us and them, then civilization. Oh, you know what? Let's read this here. Is really important right here. Where's Shepard? After the Holocaust, Dr. Gregory Stanton developed what we officially call the 8 stages of genocide, now expanded to 10. He's the founder and the director of the Genocide Watch and continues this work today. Those stages didn't always happen in a strict order, but all of them occur in genocides. The first stage is classification, dividing people into us and them. This comes then comes symbolization, where groups are forced into identifiable categories. What was I telling you about? During the Nazi genocide, they meant yellow stars, but symbolization can take many forms. Um, if this is for NMS7, I will pull this up. I believe the term is NMS7. There is, you know what, this is a little bit too important to get wrong. NMS7. NSPM7. Yeah. NSPM7, which I will just borrow the AI over you real quick. Sorry for the clinker. NSPM7 is the National Security Presidential Memorandum, right? It is basically Trump has called this group is those who are domestic terrorists, such as anti-fascist, anti-Christian, anti-capitalist. There is a whole article I will pull up in a separate video about this here, but has called NSPM7 as a designated terrorist group. This was back in November of 2025. So someone such as myself, who is anti-fascist, would be considered a domestic terrorist or anti-Christian. I'm not really anti-Christian. I just do not believe that we need to force our. We need to have strict boundaries in the church and state, no matter what religion you are. But a lot of people like to try to source the Bible into their legislation, and that is not okay. And so they want to organize campaigns of targeted intimidation towards these groups. Now, let's talk about one of these. Real quick tangent off here. We go pop over here. We're going to go to shoot, what's her name? Minnesota letter ice withdrawal. It's Pam Bondi. That's what I want. Pam Bondi sent a letter, and on the third page of this letter, no, go away. You know what? Bear with me. We're going to stitch this all together in an edit. We're going to go bam, bam, bam. Okay, here we go. All right, so down here, that's too far. I wanted to show you this letter, taking a quick detour. So we talked about how in over here, that's not the right list. That's also not the right one. We talked about how in here, right, that there are stages to this here. Dividing people into an us versus them, and then comes symbolization, right? So you say there is an enemy within. You say that there are people who want to destroy America. There are domestic terrorists, right? You already have people who are calling the death of Alex Peretti and Renee Good as domestic terrorists before their blood was even cold in the fucking snow. People want to think that a mom trying to help out and protest against ICE is some form of domestic terrorist. They want to think that a VA nurse in ICU care is a domestic terrorist. And you know what? They want other things. They want to identify these people here. And you know how they're going to do it? They're going to go, let's see here. I thought it was on page 3. Here you go. Okay, so this is a letter that Pam Bondi wrote to Tim Walz. What does this have to do with trans, right? Because we're talking about genocide. We're talking about oppressive forces right now. So this is 3 things that she wants, right? The first thing that she wants is she wants the police to cooperate with ICE, sure. The second thing that she wants to do is repeal the sanctuary policies in the cities, so that ICE can just really wander in. They don't have to go through the tedious, actual law and order. I am blanking on the term. Due process. That's the term. Yeah, ICE doesn't want people to have due process. They just want to grab people and go, and that's because they have set way too fucking high quotas to reasonably meet. They want to deport about 5% of our population. Mind you, only about 4% of that is immigrants, and that's including legal documented immigrants here. There's so much we can talk about. And we're starting the stream. So, right, this is what I want to link to though. It is all right. This right here, right? So I can't highlight it because it's scanned the text, but the third allow the Civilian Rights Division of Department of Justice to access voter rolls to confirm that Minnesota's voter registration practices comply with federal law as authorized by the Civil Rights Act of 1960. Fulfilling the common sense request, it will be guarantee free and fair elections and boost confidence in the rule of law. That sounds so wonderful, except for AZAG refuses it. Nah, it's not. It's because here's the thing. There are um there are states, right? Now when um we go out and we run these elections, each state runs their own election as is part of the state powers, power of the balance between the separation of powers. I said powers like 5 times, so I'm sorry. Let's see. No, let me find a map. Hold on. This map is going to be way freaking easier to understand. Map shows. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we have, right? Get out of my way. Here's what we have. We have ourselves. These are the states. In green, has not provided any voter registration. Blue, provide a complete voter list, including driver's license and partial social security numbers. Red is sued for not providing it. Minnesota, right there. Blue is, or this teal, I should say, provide a publicly available version of voter list and instructions on how to obtain it. Sure. And yellow is received other requests from the DOJ, but no request for voter lists. I have to inquire about that. What the heck's going on in North Dakota? And gray is no information. So there are over 20 states. I know the article says that. I think it's like 22. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Is it 18? I thought I read 20. Yeah. This administration has sued more than 20 states, mostly Democratic led, in Washington, D.C., for not complying with their orders to overturn their voter registration. The enemy from within, Trump calls Democrats more dangerous than U.S. foreign adversaries. NSPM 7. Enemy within. Voter registration. a demand for voter registration, in turn for pulling out of Minnesota. And then Arizona is expected to increase drastically in number of detentions, in number of installations that they're building currently. Arizona right now, oh goodness me, oh my goodness, do not be doing this right now. Hello there. Okay, my keyboard is giving out. It's an old keyboard. I need to get a new one. But we're gonna finish this real quick. Oh, I can't even switch my camera right now. Thanks. I'll just get a little closer to you right now. I need a new keyboard. That's not important. What is important is knowing that these steps to genocide are coming. That we're preparing to commit genocide to the left, to the woke radicals, to those who do not want to bow down. That is what they want to do. Okay. I would love to pull up more articles. In fact, I'm going to unplug this keyboard and plug it back in and hope it still works. See if that fixes my issue. It did not. I don't know if it's Opera. I've been having this issue sometimes. Yeah. All right. That's weird. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to cut all that. The first stage is classification, dividing people into us and them. Then comes civilization, where the groups are forced to identify categories. During the Nazi genocide, that meant yellow stars, but civilization can take many shapes. We are just being difficult for me, aren't we? You know what? Yeah, I don't know what it is. My keyboard just freaks out. Huh. You know, it's late. This is a test stream. This is already getting heavy. It's already 4 a.m. I've done this for 30 minutes. We're gonna save this. I'm gonna read through it at some point, and I'm gonna write out a script for talking about this and stringing together those other thoughts to make them a little bit more coherent and practice them. But this was good. Don't think anyone's in the stream. I'm pretty sure not. Nope, just my phone. That works as a way for me to test if everything's working. Thank you so for watching and for believing myself. I know this place is not set the way it's supposed to be. This is a test. This will work out. I just need to figure out what the heck is going on with my computer in terms of this keyboard and maybe Opera. These are the 10 stages of genocide: classification, symbolization, discrimination, dehumanization, organization, polarization, preparation, persecution, extermination, denial. I'm, huh, that's concerning. Because in some ways they've already done that. Set the stages for genocide. For the left. For the woke. For the trans. For the ADHD. For the autistic. I myself am bisexual. I am married to a woman, but I am bi. Fuck. Okay. This image. Delete that. I'm not sure that should. I don't think it shows up on stream, but yes. Fuck this, man. Anyway, thank you for believing in myself. I'm going to figure out what the heck's going on. We're gonna do this stuff later. This was the test. Thank you for watching myself. If you were one random person that clicked on this page with one subscriber, just to see me, hi. This was interesting. New data. Question. Yeah, I gotta figure out how this works. Even showing here. Maybe I just record straight from YouTube. I don't know. We'll find out. Thank you. You guys have a great night.